What's going on, everyone? We've got the first trailer for Dark Phoenix, which is hitting theaters next February. Now, as everyone knows, this is probably going to be the last mainline X-Men film by Fox, since the pending merger with Disney is currently happening, and all signs are leading to a full reboot. We also have New Mutants, which is coming in August of next year, so that's kind of a spin-off thing, but this is going to be, I guess, a culmination of all of the X-Men films thus far by Simon Kinberg, who of course was involved with The Last Stand and all of the franchise films, really as the writer and producer. So for this breakdown, we're just going to go over some key shots in the trailer and kind of talk about what's going on here and what we can discern from the images. So the trailer opens up with a flashback to a young Jean Grey being dropped off at Xavier's School for Gifted People. She meets up with him and he looks like he did back in X-Men Days of Future Past with the longer hair, so presumably this is in maybe the 70s or 80s, somewhere in there, because Jean is considerably younger here. We also see another shot of a young Jean Grey sitting in what looks to be either her own personal home, her childhood home, or the Xavier's school, the X-Mansion. The next couple shots here, it looks like Beast is doing some tests on Jean Grey, presumably after their mission in space, and she's exposed to some cosmic rays that activate something quite deadly inside of her. Next up, we get a short scene in which Mystique is talking to Professor X about the dangers of holding back information from Jean's past, namely her childhood traumas, in which she actually got her parents killed in a car crash because she couldn't control her mutant abilities. The next few shots of the trailer, we can see Jean Grey coming up on what looks to be Genosha, which is going to be the mutant-sanctioned land. It looks like a small island out in the middle of some sort of a sea or something, and this is the community that Magneto has actually formed for mutants to come and live in peace among the rest of the world. And it looks like Jean is going to him for answers. So this shot right here gives us our first look at Jessica Chastain's character in the film, who we know is a shape-shifting alien with an agenda that is not entirely known to us thus far, but it looks like she does want to manipulate Jean Grey for her own needs, and it looks like she's walking up towards Jean Grey's childhood home after what looks to be some sort of an accident. You can see the police tape there in the background. And then following up with that, we can see Jessica Chastain's character once again with her handler inside of a church talking to Jean Grey after they have held a funeral, possibly, and telling her that she doesn't belong with the rest of the X-Men. And this one right here is interesting because it looks like Beast is going off on his own up to something. It looks like he's actually possibly angry here or saddened because of his stance and the way he looks in the trailer. There's another image of him looking down at the ground, so maybe this gives us our indication that Mystique is killed off in the film, because we do know that Beast was trying to hit on her ever since First Class, and the trailer also does give us some glimpses that their relationship might be taken farther in this film. This shot here gives us a good look at the X-Jet going up into space. Like I said, the film is supposed to open up with a space mission in which the X-Men are tasked with rescuing some astronauts, and this is where Jean gets exposed to some nasty cosmic rays. The trailer builds up to this climactic reveal in which Jean is actually facing off against her fellow teammates, the X-Men, all clad in their classic blue and yellow costumes that look more like they're out of Grant Morrison's The New X-Men run. If you take a look at where this fight is actually happening, it's Jean Grey's childhood home, right on the street where she grew up on. And in this shot here, we can see the house blowing up, so it looks like some stuff is going to be going down right here. Alright, so these images give us a good look at the X-Men in their funeral attire, black and white suits, and Scott is telling them even though stuff happened, she's still our friend and we need to save her. So it seems like their relationship is going to be the emotional linchpin of the film, because Scott is the only one that actually really believes that she can be redeemed. It looks like the other X-Men are kind of against her at this point after something has gone completely wrong. They've had to bury one of their own. Again, this shot right here is just another indicator that it's likely Mystique because of how distraught Hank actually looks right here. I mean, just look at the guy. He throws his glass at the wall when Professor X tries to talk to him in the next scene. Speaking of Professor X, right here we can see that he's trying to access Jean's mind, but it looks like the Phoenix Force is blocking him from doing so. Interestingly enough, later on in the trailer we can see Magneto busting out an old blacked out helmet, which she uses against telepaths to block their psychic links. So it looks like that'll be very useful against Charles and Jean in this film, as she can't control her abilities. Right here we can see an X-Men team fractured. It looks like Magneto is standing on one side with mutants that he knows, along with Beast, who has possibly decided to join alongside his Brotherhood of Mutants. And on the other side of the image we can see Charles, Cyclops, Storm, and Nightcrawler. The trailer ends again with a glimpse of the funeral sequence, Jean Grey manifesting her Phoenix powers right here after getting exposed to the cosmic solar energy, and a glimpse at her transformation into the Phoenix itself. So that was all that we had for the Dark Phoenix trailer. What do you guys think of this one? Does this get you more or less excited for the film? And which major X-Men character do you think will die? Because they have said that somebody will definitely be dying in this film. My money is on Mystique, just based off of the little teases here and there. We also don't see her in some of the group shots later on in the film, so it seems like something has fractured the team. Beast going over to Magneto's side is also another giveaway. For more updates on Dark Phoenix and everything pop culture, be sure to subscribe to HN Entertainment.